Welcome to Next Generation, where we explore the untold stories behind the world's most revolutionary brands. Imagine this: a man thousands of miles away from his loved ones, trying to connect through the internet. But the screen freezes, the audio drops, and the moment disappears. For most of us, that's frustration. But for one man, it was a billion-dollar idea. This is the story of how a single engineer's longing for human connection transformed into a global revolution that would connect classrooms, boardrooms, families, and even entire nations. From rejection to recognition, from silence to connection, this is the story of Zoom, the app that connected the planet. The seed of an idea long before Zoom became a household name. Eric Yuan was just a young engineer with a dream. Born in China, he was fascinated by the idea of communication across distance, the concept that technology could bridge people separated by miles. As a university student, Yuan would spend over 10 hours traveling by train to visit his girlfriend, a journey that made him wish for a better way to connect face-to-face without distance. That simple wish became an obsession. In the mid-1990s, when the internet was still in its infancy, Yuan set his sights on Silicon Valley, the land of innovation. But getting there wasn't easy. The U.S. Embassy rejected his visa 8 times. 8 rejections. 8 failures. Yet each no only fueled his determination. Finally, on his 9th attempt, Yuan was approved. He packed his bags, left everything behind, and landed in the United States with a single dream: to build technology that could bring people closer together. The WebEx years Yuan joined WebEx, a pioneer in online meeting software. He quickly proved his value, helping design video conferencing technology that was ahead of its time. By the early 2000s, WebEx had grown rapidly and was acquired by Cisco Systems for $3.2 billion. Yuan rose through the ranks to become Vice President of Engineering, leading hundreds of developers. But despite its success, Yuan wasn't satisfied. He noticed that customers were constantly complaining. Poor video quality, confusing interfaces, lagging audio. To him, the solution was clear. The world needed simpler, faster, and more human video communication. When Yuan proposed rebuilding WebEx from scratch to fix these issues, Cisco's leadership refused. They believed their current system was good enough. That was the moment Yuan made the hardest decision of his life: to leave the company he helped build and start over from zero. The leap of faith in 2011, with nothing but conviction and experience, Eric Yuan left Cisco to create his own video communication startup. He believed in a simple idea: video should just work. Investors laughed at him. Another video app? The market's already saturated, they said. But Yuan wasn't building just another app. He was building a feeling, the feeling of effortless connection. With a small group of loyal engineers who believed in his vision, he founded a new company called Zoom Video Communications. They started working out of a tiny office in San Jose, California. Days were long. Nights were longer. They tested endless lines of code to solve one core problem: how to make video calls smooth and natural, even on weak internet connections. The early vision Yuan's design philosophy was revolutionary. He insisted Zoom should launch instantly without complex downloads or logins. It should handle hundreds of users at once, yet remain lightweight. And most importantly, it should make people smile when they used it. His motto was simple: happiness is the ultimate goal of technology. The team coded obsessively, eating meals at their desks, celebrating small wins. By 2012, the first version of Zoom was ready. It allowed up to 25 participants in a single call, with crystal-clear video and almost no lag, a feat other platforms struggled to achieve. When they launched the beta version, something unexpected happened. Thousands of users joined instantly. Teachers, small business owners, friends across continents. They loved how easy it was. Zoom didn't need advertising. It spread like wildfire through word of mouth, early struggles and breakthroughs. But growth came with challenges. The company needed funding to scale servers and expand infrastructure. When met with dozens of investors, most rejected him. One famously told him, "You're going up against Google and Microsoft. You'll be crushed in months." Still, Yen smiled and replied, "If they're my competitors, then I'm on the right path." Finally, one investor, Dan Scheinman, a former Cisco executive, saw Yuan's passion and invested in the idea. That was the moment Zoom found its wings. They officially launched to the public in January 2013, and by the end of that year, they had over 1 million active users. For Yuan and his team, this was more than success. It was validation that people didn't just need video communication. They needed Zoom, building trust through connection. As Zoom grew, Yuan emphasized company culture over profit. He personally replied to customer feedback emails, even late at night. When a user complained about a bug, he often joined meetings himself to see it firsthand. In an industry where CEOs chased valuation, Yen chased trust. By 2015, Zoom became the preferred tool for small businesses and educators, groups that valued reliability over branding. The company had something the giants didn't: heart. And while competitors focused on flashy features, Zoom quietly perfected the experience that truly mattered: a human connection through a digital screen. The calm before the storm. By 2018, Zoom had become profitable, a rare achievement in the tech startup world. They had millions of users and major corporate clients. But what nobody knew was that the world was about to change forever, and Zoom would soon become the digital backbone of human communication. The storm was coming, and when it arrived, Zoom would be at the center of it all. The year was 2020. The world was about to face an event that would change everything: the way we live, work, learn, and connect. As cities shut down and offices emptied, one question echoed across the planet: how do we stay connected? For billions of people, the answer came in a simple blue icon: Zoom. The world hits pause. When the COVID-19 pandemic forced lockdowns around the world, life suddenly went digital. Boardrooms, classrooms, and family gatherings all disappeared overnight, replaced by screens, silence, and uncertainty. Businesses scrambled for survival. Schools shut down. Families were separated. But amid this chaos, one platform quietly rose to meet an impossible demand: Zoom. Once known only in tech circles, became the bridge that kept humanity together. Overnight explosion in December 2019. Zoom had about 10 million daily meeting participants. By April 2020, that number had skyrocketed to over 300 million. It wasn't just growth. It was a digital explosion. Every day, millions of people logged in, not for business but for birthdays, weddings, yoga classes, and even funerals. Zoom became the new living room of the world. It connected teachers to students, grandparents to grandchildren, and doctors to patients. No other app in history had ever united humanity so completely, so quickly. Why Zoom worked when others didn't. Tree. Sudden rise wasn't luck. It was design. Zoom's engineers had built an architecture optimized for low bandwidth and high stability, meaning it worked even on weak internet connections. Competitors like Skype and Google Meet struggled under pressure, but Zoom thrived. Its simplicity was its superpower. No login hassle, no complicated setup. Just click, join, and talk. For people around the world, it felt like magic. As one user said in a viral tweet, Zoom didn't just connect us, it gave us a sense of normal again. Behind the scenes, chaos and code inside Zoom headquarters, the explosion felt less like success and more like a storm. Servers were overloaded, engineers worked 18-hour days, and new security challenges emerged by the hour. Every night, Eric Yuan joined virtual meetings with his exhausted team. His message was always the same: if people are depending on us, we can't fail them. As demand grew faster than anyone could imagine, the team scaled their infrastructure across multiple continents, adding new data centers, boosting bandwidth, and expanding customer support. The mission wasn't just about uptime, it was about keeping the world connected during its darkest hour. The security storm, but with great visibility, came great scrutiny. By mid-2020, reports of Zoom bombing, unwanted intrusions in online meetings, began circulating online. Media outlets criticized the company for security flaws. Privacy advocates questioned how data was being handled. For the first time, Zoom's meteoric rise was overshadowed by public backlash. Eric Yuan didn't hide. He publicly apologized and promised change. In a live-streamed Q&A session, he said, "We moved too fast. We made mistakes, but we'll fix them. All of them." And they did. Within weeks, Zoom implemented end-to-end encryption, waiting room features, password protection, and an entire overhaul of its privacy policy. The same transparency that built trust in the beginning now became the shield that protected it. Becoming a cultural phenomenon as the world adjusted to the new normal, Zoom wasn't just a tool, it became a symbol of human connection. Late-night TV hosts broadcasted from Zoom. Global conferences were held on Zoom. Even weddings and baby showers took place on Zoom. A new phrase entered the global vocabulary. "Let's hop on a Zoom call." And just like that, the company name became a verb, joining the ranks of Google and Xerox. From teachers to world leaders, everyone used it. In just a few months, Zoom had achieved what most brands spend decades chasing: universal relevance. The human side of the story. Behind all the screens and headlines, Yuan remained humble. Even as Zoom's valuation passed $100 billion, he still described himself as a simple engineer with a dream. He refused luxury offices or personal assistants, choosing instead to focus on the company's culture. Every new hire was trained in Zoom's happiness delivery philosophy, a belief that every line of code and every customer interaction should create joy, not frustration. While other CEOs chased IPO milestones, Yuan joined team meetings and asked employees how their families were coping. To him, empathy wasn't a strategy, it was leadership. Zoom goes public in April 2019, just before the pandemic. Zoom had gone public on the NASDAQ. It was one of the most successful tech IPOs of the decade. On the first day of trading, Zoom's stock jumped 80%, giving the company a valuation of $16 billion. But no one could have predicted what would happen next. A year later, during the pandemic peak, Zoom's market value soared past $100 billion, more than major airlines and hotels combined. While the world stood still, Zoom became the beating heart of the digital economy. Education in the age of Zoom, perhaps the most profound impact was on education. Millions of schools switched to online learning overnight, and Zoom became the new classroom. Teachers taught math from their living rooms. Students attended science labs virtually. Graduation ceremonies were live-streamed to families across the world. Yuan often said this was the most meaningful part of Zoom's journey. "We didn't build a company. We built a connection between generations." Connecting a divided world is months past. Zoom became more than a communication tool. It became a symbol of resilience. World leaders discussed global health policies on Zoom. Doctors conducted remote consultations. Artists performed live concerts from home studios. While the world was physically apart, Zoom gave it a way to stay emotionally together. From New York to Nairobi, from Tokyo to Toronto, humanity was united by one simple click. Join meeting. Adapting to a new reality, but with great success came new challenges. How could a company built for business adapt to being used by everyone, from toddlers to presidents? Zoom introduced new features: background blur, breakout rooms, waiting lobbies, and improved security layers, all while maintaining its signature simplicity. Each update was guided by one core philosophy: keep humans first. and technology second. The company's agility and empathy turned crisis into opportunity, setting a new gold standard for digital communication. A world transformed by the end of 2020, Zoom wasn't just another app, it was a cultural artifact. It had transformed the way humanity thought about presence, work, and connection. What started as one engineer's wish to bridge distance became a global movement that united billions of hearts. But as the world began to reopen, a new challenge awaited. Could Zoom remain essential in a post-pandemic world? Would it fade back into the background or evolve into something even greater? The next chapter would test everything the company had built, not its technology, but its purpose. By late 2021, the world began to reopen. Classrooms filled again, airports buzzed, and the sound of life returned to the streets. The era of lockdowns was ending, and with it, the habits that had made Zoom a daily ritual for billions. For the first time since its meteoric rise, Zoom faced an unfamiliar silence. Growth slowed. Investors wondered, was this just a pandemic miracle? Analysts predicted decline. But inside Zoom's headquarters, Eric Yuan saw it differently. He gathered his leadership team and said one simple thing: connection is not a trend. It's human nature. Our mission doesn't end here. It evolves. The pivot, rather than fearing the end of the pandemic boom, Zoom began reinventing itself. The company shifted focus from being a meeting tool to becoming a full communication platform, a digital ecosystem built for a hybrid world. They introduced new products: Zoom Phone for cloud-based business calls, Zoom Events for virtual conferences, Zoom Rooms, integrating physical meeting spaces with virtual ones. It wasn't about video anymore. It was about connection in every form. Zoom wasn't just helping people talk. It was helping them collaborate, create, and belong. The hybrid revolution as companies embraced hybrid work. Zoom became the infrastructure of the modern office. Executives realized something important. Employees didn't want to go back to the old way. They wanted flexibility, the ability to work, live, and connect on their own terms. Zoom became the new headquarters, not bound by walls, but by connections. In cities like New York and London, major corporations built entire workflows around Zoom integration. From board meetings to job interviews, it became the silent backbone of global productivity. The platform wasn't just surviving, it was redefining the future of work, the human connection. Philosophy. Even as the company scaled, Eric Yuan never forgot his roots. He often told his team, "We're not in the video business. We're in the happiness business." He believed that technology should fade into the background, allowing humans to focus on what truly matters: communication, empathy, and understanding. This philosophy inspired Zoom's internal culture. Instead of chasing hype, the company prioritized listening. Every month, teams reviewed customer stories, teachers, parents, entrepreneurs, and discussed how to make their experiences smoother. While other tech CEOs competed for headlines, Yen focused on one metric: how many smiles did we create this week? In global impact, by 2022, Zoom's reach extended to every corner of the planet. It wasn't just used by corporations or schools. It had become an essential part of global communication. In rural villages of India, doctors used Zoom to provide medical advice. In Africa, small businesses conducted cross-border deals online. In Europe, universities held international guest lectures without borders. In total, Zoom's platform connected over 190 countries, bridging language, culture, and distance, proving that technology, when built with empathy, can unify the world. Innovation meets responsibility as competition grew from Microsoft Teams, Google Meet, and Slack. Zoom doubled down on innovation and security. They hired top cybersecurity experts and invested heavily in AI to improve call stability and real-time translation. The company's mission expanded to include accessibility, making meetings inclusive for all users, regardless of background or ability. Zoom added live captions, sign language support, and voice recognition AI. Their goal was clear: no one should ever feel left out of a conversation. Beyond video, the next frontier, while others saw Zoom as just a meeting app, Yuan envisioned something far greater: a new communication layer for humanity. He imagined a world where business, education, and relationships blended seamlessly across digital and physical spaces. Zoom began experimenting with AR and VR technologies, building immersive meeting environments for virtual collaboration. They also launched Zoom IQ, an AI-powered assistant that summarized meetings, provided insights, and improved communication efficiency. The message was clear: Zoom wasn't looking backward, it was inventing the future. Facing challenges. Head on, but not everything was easy. As offices reopened, daily usage dropped. Stock prices fell from their pandemic highs, and critics questioned whether Zoom could maintain relevance. For Yuan, this wasn't failure. It was evolution. He reminded his team of the early days when rejection had built resilience. "We didn't build Zoom to be famous," he told them. "We built it to be useful. As long as people need to connect, our purpose remains." The company cut unnecessary costs, streamlined products, and invested in innovation instead of marketing hype. Slowly, stability returned, and Zoom transitioned from being a pandemic company to a permanent infrastructure of communication. Cultural legacy. Even as trends changed, Zoom remained part of global culture. TV shows, movies, and even political debates referenced Zoom calls. It became shorthand for connection itself, a symbol of how humanity adapted under pressure. Sociologists began calling the era the Zoom generation, a time when human interaction evolved beyond physical space. In many ways, Zoom had become what email was in the 1990s, a new default for communication. Lessons from Zoom's journey. The story of Zoom isn't just about technology. It's about resilience, simplicity, and purpose-driven innovation. From a rejected visa applicant to the founder of a global tech giant, Eric Yuan's story reminds us that success isn't about creating complexity. It's about solving human problems with empathy. Zoom succeeded because it understood something timeless. People don't crave perfection. They crave connection, and that's what Zoom delivered. The next generation of connection today, Zoom continues to evolve, powering global businesses, schools, and communities. Its logo isn't just a tech symbol. It's a reminder of how far humanity has come in staying close. Even when far apart, Eric Yuan remains humble, still guided by the same belief that started it all. Every great innovation begins with love. The love for people you want to stay connected with. From a small idea in China to a global revolution connecting billions, the story of Zoom proves one truth that defines this generation. Technology changes the world, but humanity gives it meaning. Closing line for outro voice. This was the story of Zoom, the app that connected the planet, and reminded us that even in distance, we are never truly apart.